Okay, so hopefully this pops up here. Last week, guys, this is the last assignment, and it's the easy one. Let's wrap up this weird year and be done. So just remember, turn everything in by the 13th. I'm going to open up everything again. So if you missed anything and you want to go back and do it and turn it in, you're welcome to. Everything will be due the 13th. If you contact me after that, I'm not going to be able to open it back up. I have to have grades posted that day. So, really quickly, let's run through this. So, last week we talked about um, different types of meats and the retail cuts and everything. And, let's see. Okay, here we go. I think it's working. There we go. So, this week we're going to look at qualities. There's a couple different ways that quality of meat is based. One is by age, so the maturity, okay? And you can determine that by looking at the bone and cartilage. So the younger it is, the higher the quality to a certain point, right? And then the second thing, which is the most commonly used and known as the amount of marbling. And marbling means the intramuscular fat or flex of fat in lean muscle that gives its taste. So you see these white strips of, down here in the bottom right, these white strips of fat, okay, running throughout these steaks, that's marbling. The more of that, the better, right? The more tender it's going to be, the more moist the steak will be, the more flavor it will have. Okay, so you want marbling. The more marbling, the higher the quality of the grade. Okay. Age is determined by these little buttons. You can see these little shiny white bits of cartilage near bones. And you can also look at the bones. So now the marbling, which when you go to a grocery store, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see prime, choice, and select. Okay, prime being the most marbled and the most expensive. Okay, choice has some marbling, a little more economical, not nearly as good though. And then we have select, which has little to no marbling. Okay. When you go to a really cheap steakhouse, you're getting either choice or select. Whoops. You have to go to a pretty fancy place to get a prime steak. However, you can buy prime steaks at grocery stores and things like that. You'll usually see this USDA grade on the meat in the grocery stores. And just remember, prime is the best, choice is middling, select is the least desirable, right? It is the most affordable, it's the cheapest. Okay. There are actually few different ways that you can grade them. So, prime is almost always going to be younger than 2 years old. It can get all the way up to 42 months old. That's pretty rare though. So it's going to be younger and have a lot of marbling. Okay. Choice has moderate marbling, and again, we're up to that 42 months of age. Select, again, not very much marbling, up to 42 months old. Then we have standard. You're not going to see this in a grocery store. This is what gets used in hot dogs and canned stews. Anything that is canned meat is going to be standard or one of these even lower ones over here. Okay. But standard is still a younger animal, but just has no marbling whatsoever. And then we get to older animals. These are commercial, right? And then utility. Okay. Older animals with no marbling. Commercials, older animals with some marbling. Okay. Commercial again is used for canning things, for yeah, I'm thinking of like those canned stews and stuff, hot dogs, stuff like that. Utility, if it comes from a good clean source, it can be used for some canned things, and it's also going to be used for dog feed and stuff like that. So again, you won't see these three in the grocery store. What you'll see is these three: Prime, Choice, and Select. Okay, especially when you're buying steaks and stuff like that. Yield grade, just real briefly, the higher the yield grade, which is actually a 1 is the highest and a 5 is the lowest. If it's a 1, that means you're getting a lot of meat. And if it's a 5, that means you're not getting a lot of meat off that animal. Meat is considered spoiled when it's unfit for human consumption. The major causes of spoiling are microorganisms, bacteria, yeast, mold, things like that. This is how you know if your meat is spoiled. First thing is the smell, right? You've all smelled rotten meat. If you haven't, you're very lucky. It's a very disgusting smell. They'll get a slimy coating on the outside. You'll see mold growth, and you'll see some discoloration, right? It'll start to brown, or it can even turn kind of it'll get like a silvery greenish color on the outside, okay? Okay, so we're just looking at lean meat. Lean means there's not much fat, right? So if we're gonna rank these two, this is the most lean meat, right? This has a lot more fat on it and some gristle and stuff like that. This has a lot more lean meat. Okay. Fat, if you want to rank those, okay. This one has a lot more intramuscular fat, so that means in the muscle or marbling, compared to this one, right? This would be like a prime, and this would be a choice steak. Okay. Also, you want to look for ones that don't have a ton of exterior fat, right? The fat on the outside is not super helpful. That's not important. What you're looking for is that intramuscular, the fat in the meat. Okay. So if we were to rate these, there's a couple different ways you could go with this, right? I want you to just look at these real quick. Which of these would you buy? So get one of these in your head. Okay, so I place this 4, 3, 1, 2. So if we go back and let's see if we can. Okay, there we are. So 4, it has the most meat and the most marbling with the least amount of exterior fat. Okay, 3 is close, not quite as much intramuscular fat as 4. Number 1, the steak number 1, doesn't have very much intramuscular meat. It also has quite a bit of bone in it. And number 2 has the least amount of meat altogether, right? It has a lot of exterior fat and bone down here. There's actually just not a lot of meat there. So the purpose of this, right? When you're choosing your meat, you can save money buying cheaper quality, right, with less marbling, but it's going to be a lesser product. It does not taste as good, it's not as juicy, it's not as tender, it's not as flavorful. Okay? So what I really want you to take away from this whole thing, if we run back to this right here, okay? Prime, that's your best. Choice, it's okay. Select, if you can avoid it, don't buy it. It's not nearly as good, right? Choice is okay. Try and get Prime as often as you can afford it. All right, guys, that's it. My class is over. What a weird year. I hope you all have an amazing summer. Enjoy it. I can't wait to see you guys next fall. Hopefully some of you are taking my class, some of my other classes. Enjoy your summer, guys. Bye.